Ever wonder why you're waking up in the middle of the night? You might be surprised to learn that the timing of your evening glass of water could be disrupting your sleep. In this video, we'll uncover the secret to staying hydrated while ensuring a restful night's sleep so you can wake up refreshed and energetic. Top 5 times to stop drinking water for better sleep. Number 1, 2 hours before bedtime. All right, kicking things off with our first point. The 2-hour rule before hitting the sack is a really popular piece of advice for managing how much you drink to help you sleep right through. The idea behind it is pretty simple. It usually takes about that long for your kidneys to do their job with fluids and for your bladder to fill up. So, if you stop drinking water 2 hours before you plan to sleep, you're giving your body plenty of time to finish this process. This really cuts down the chances of needing to get up in the middle of the night. And this is especially key for anyone managing diabetes, because those changing blood sugar levels can sometimes make you feel thirstier and need to go more often. Now, to really get why this 2-hour guideline is so helpful, it's good to understand a bit about how our bodies handle fluids. When you drink water, it gets absorbed into your bloodstream from your stomach and intestines. Then, it makes its way to your kidneys. These amazing organs filter out waste and extra water, and that becomes urine, which then gathers in your bladder. Giving yourself that 2-hour window means your kidneys have enough time to filter everything, and your bladder can let you know it's time to empty out before you get comfy for the night. This helps stop those annoying wake-up calls in the middle of the night. It's worth noting that sleep specialists often back this 2-hour cutoff as a really practical way to boost your sleep habits. They point out that even though everyone's a bit different, this time frame is a great starting place for most adults. And if you're dealing with diabetes, getting consistent sleep is crucial for keeping blood sugar in check. So, cutting down on things that wake you up, like bathroom visits, can really help your overall well-being. Experts believe this small change can lead to a big improvement in how soundly you sleep. And there's research to back this up too. Studies show that cutting back on fluids before bed can reduce what doctors call nocturia. That's the fancy term for needing to pee a lot at night. People in these studies who made a point of stopping their water intake a couple of hours before bedtime said they woke up less often to use the bathroom. This means they got more solid, uninterrupted sleep, which is so important for our bodies and minds to recover. And it's especially good for keeping glucose levels steady if you have diabetes. Of course, like any rule, there are exceptions. Some medications, particularly diuretics, which are often given for things like high blood pressure, common in folks with diabetes, might mean you need to drink closer to bedtime, or will make you urinate more no matter when you drink. Also, certain health issues, like uncontrolled diabetes that causes a lot of thirst, could mean you need to adjust things. The best bet is always to chat with your doctor or healthcare provider about your own situation and hydration needs to figure out a plan that's just right for you. If you want to try adjusting your hydration schedule, a good way to do it is gradually. For a week, try having your last drink of the day just 15 minutes earlier each night. Keep doing this, bit by bit, until you hit that 2-hour mark. Make sure to keep a water bottle with you during the day so you're still getting plenty of fluids, especially if you have diabetes, and need to be careful about managing thirst. This kind of slow change helps your body get used to it without feeling like you're missing out, and it makes switching to a more sleep-friendly drinking pattern much easier. Number 2, after evening meals. Moving on to our second point, let's talk about after your evening meals. It's interesting how digestion and our need for water are connected, especially when we're thinking about getting a good night's sleep. Your body actually needs water to help with digestion. It helps break down food and soak up all those good nutrients. And quite often, the water or fluids you drink with your dinner are enough to see you through the digestion phase and into the early night, without you needing to drink more water later. A lot of people find that just drinking water with their dinner sorts out their evening hydration. This is especially true if your meal includes foods that are already full of moisture, like fruits or veggies. If you're managing diabetes, having a good, balanced dinner that helps keep your blood sugar steady is really important. And the water you drink then can also help your body absorb nutrients and any medication you might be taking. Doing this helps you steer clear of needing to drink a lot of water right before bed. What you eat also plays a part in how your body holds on to fluid. Foods that are really salty or sugary, which people with diabetes are often advised to be careful with, can make you feel thirstier. But a balanced meal that fits with diabetic dietary guidelines usually won't make you overly thirsty. The water you have with your meal helps your body deal with the food and naturally reduces your need for more fluids as the evening goes on. This fits in perfectly with the idea of cutting back on drinks before you go to sleep. So, how can you stay hydrated during your meals without going overboard? Try sipping water slowly and steadily throughout your dinner instead of chugging big amounts all at once. And listen to your body's natural signals for thirst. Adding foods that are high in water content to your meal, like cucumber, celery, or soups made with broth, can also help you get fluids without needing extra glasses of water that could wake you up later. Now, what if you do feel thirsty after dinner and you're worried about it messing with your sleep? Well, you could think about alternatives to plain water. A small cup of herbal tea, maybe chamomile or peppermint, just make sure it's caffeine-free, can be quite calming and hydrating without filling up your bladder too much. But do watch out for any added sugars, particularly if you have diabetes. And remember, even these alternatives should be enjoyed well before that 2-hour cutoff we talked about. One common slip-up with drinking after meals is carrying on with large amounts of water right up until bedtime. Often, this is more out of habit than because you're truly thirsty, and it can definitely lead to those unwanted nighttime awakenings. So, the trick is to focus on drinking enough water throughout the entire day and with your evening meal. And if you're managing diabetes, keep in mind that while staying hydrated is always important, the timing really is key for getting good sleep. Number 3, during late-night exercise. Our third point concerns those late-night workouts. Exercising in the evening is great for your health and can be really good for managing blood sugar if you have diabetes. But it can also really change how much water you need, and if you're not careful, it could mess with your sleep. When you exercise, you lose fluids through sweat, and it's super important to replace them. The catch is, drinking a lot of water too close to bedtime after your workout can mean more trips to the bathroom overnight. So, what's the best way to manage water if you exercise at night? The key is to drink plenty before and during your workout, and then really cut back on how much you drink afterwards. Try to get most of your rehydration done within an hour after you finish exercising, and definitely make sure it's at least 2 hours before you plan to go to sleep. This gives your body the chance to soak up the fluids it needs and get rid of any extra. When it comes to rehydrating after a workout without wrecking your sleep, the goal is to replace what you've lost effectively, but without drinking too much. Sipping water slowly is better than gulping it down. Think about how intense and how long your workout was. A gentle walk won't need as much rehydration as a tough cardio session. For really hard workouts, you might need to replace electrolytes, but do keep an eye on the sugar in sports drinks, especially if you have diabetes. It's all about finding that balance between what your body needs to recover and getting good quality sleep. Proper hydration is vital for your muscles to recover and for your body to get back in balance after exercise. But if you're losing sleep because you're up and down to the bathroom, it can cancel out some of the good things from your workout, especially for controlling blood sugar. So, make it a priority to finish rehydrating well before that pre-sleep cutoff time we discussed. And remember, how tough your workout is directly affects when and how much you need to drink. Something like high-intensity interval training, or HIIT, or long endurance exercises will make you lose more fluid than, say, gentle yoga or stretching. So, adjust how much water you drink after your workout based on that, and always try to get this rehydration done as early in the evening as you can to help protect your sleep. It's also really important to know the difference between signs that you're dehydrated, like dark yellow urine, feeling dizzy, or being super thirsty, and signs that you've had too much water, which often just means needing to pee a lot. If you're working out in the evening, really listen to what your body is telling you. And if you have diabetes, be extra careful, because being dehydrated can mess with your blood sugar levels. The aim is to rehydrate enough, but to do it smartly, so you don't end up interrupting your sleep. Number 4, while taking evening medications. Next up, our fourth point is about taking medications in the evening. Some medicines can really change how thirsty you feel and how often you need to urinate. This is a big deal if you're trying to sleep through the night, especially for anyone managing diabetes who might be on several different medications. Some drugs act as diuretics, meaning they make you produce more urine, while others can give you a dry mouth, which then makes you want to drink more. So, the first step is to understand the possible side effects of any medications you're taking. If you have to take medication with water in the evening, try to use just the smallest amount of water you need to swallow the pills comfortably. And if it's possible to take that medication a bit earlier, maybe with your dinner, that's usually better than taking it right before you go to bed. This helps keep the amount of fluid you're adding to your system close to bedtime to a minimum. It's also a really good idea to talk to your doctor or pharmacist about the best timing for your medications. They might be able to tweak your prescription schedule so you're not taking things like diuretics or large doses of medicine late in the evening. For those of you managing diabetes, getting the timing of your medication right, alongside controlling your blood sugar and getting enough sleep, is a tricky balancing act, and your healthcare provider is the best person to help you with that. Just so you're aware, common medications that can make you need to urinate more at night include diuretics. Those are often given for high blood pressure or heart failure, which can sometimes go along with diabetes. Some antidepressants can do it too, as well as certain diabetes medications that help get rid of glucose through your urine. Knowing if your medication is one of these can help you plan your fluid intake more effectively. If you absolutely have to take medication with water late in the evening and you find you're constantly dealing with a dry mouth, it's worth discussing other options with your doctor. They might be able to suggest things like saliva substitutes, or they could look into whether that dry mouth is a side effect that could be managed in a different way. The main thing is to make sure you're getting the medical treatment you need, but without having to give up good quality sleep. Finding that sweet spot between your medical needs and good sleep often comes down to careful planning and good communication with your healthcare team. Sticking to your prescribed medication plan is, of course, incredibly important, especially when you're managing long-term conditions like diabetes. But looking into ways to lessen sleep problems caused by drinking fluids with your medication is just as important for your overall health and how you feel. Number 5, during sleep-inducing routines. And our fifth point looks at those times during your wind-down routine before bed. It's actually pretty common to feel thirsty when you're doing things like brushing your teeth or reading in bed. Sometimes, though, this feeling is more about habit or just a dry mouth, rather than your body actually being dehydrated. Being able to tell the difference is really helpful for managing how much you drink in the evening. Learning to tell the difference between real, physiological thirst and just habitual thirst, or a dry mouth, is a useful skill to develop. If you're truly thirsty, that feeling usually sticks around even after small sips of water, and you might have noticed other signs earlier in the day, like darker urine. Habitual thirst, on the other hand, often just pops up because you're used to having a drink at a particular time. It can be really effective to create a pre-sleep routine where you consciously limit how much water you drink. So, instead of having a big glass of water on your nightstand, maybe try having nothing at all, or just a tiny bit if you absolutely need it for medication. Try to focus on other relaxing things that don't involve drinking, like some light stretching, meditation, or getting lost in a good book. When we're talking about drinking late in the evening, both research and just practical experience tell us that taking small sips is much less likely to disturb your sleep than drinking whole glasses of water. If you do need to drink because your mouth is dry or for medication, just take the smallest amount you need to feel comfortable or to get that pill down. Don't drink a large amount that's probably going to wake your bladder up later. You know, things in your bedroom environment can also make you feel thirsty or give you a dry mouth. Dry air is a common one, especially in winter when the heating is on. Or, if you sleep with your mouth open because you're a bit congested, that can dry your mouth out too. Using a humidifier in your bedroom can actually help keep enough moisture in the air, which might make you feel less like you need to drink water. And there are a few tricks for dealing with a dry mouth at night that don't involve drinking lots of water. Chewing sugar-free gum, the kind with xylitol, is often recommended, or sucking on a sugar-free hard candy before you go to bed can help get your saliva flowing. There are also saliva substitutes you can get, like sprays or gels, that can bring some relief. These ideas can be especially handy for people with diabetes, who might find they get a dry mouth more often. Understanding the sleep-hydration connection. So, let's take a moment to really understand this connection between sleep and hydration. It's a two-way street, and it has a huge impact on our overall health. Being properly hydrated helps all our normal body functions work well while we're asleep. But interestingly, if you're not sleeping well, that can also affect how hydrated you are. Keeping that fluid balance right is so important for all the repair and restoration work our bodies do when we're resting. If you're dehydrated, even just a little bit, it can really mess with your sleep cycles. It can cause discomfort, maybe leg cramps, or that annoying dry mouth and throat, all of which make it tougher to drift off and stay asleep. This often leads to broken sleep and means you spend less time in those really deep, restorative stages of sleep. And that's a particular worry for keeping blood sugar regulated if you have diabetes. While you're sleeping, your body is actually busy working to keep your fluid balance in check. It releases hormones, like one called vasopressin, which tells your kidneys to hold onto water and make less urine overnight. It's a pretty clever system, and it's designed to let us sleep for several hours straight without needing to pee or drink. It's also worth mentioning that as we get older, things can change with both our hydration needs and our sleep patterns. Older adults, and that includes many seniors who are managing diabetes, might not feel thirsty as strongly as they used to. This can put them at a higher risk of getting dehydrated. They might also find their sleep is more broken up, and they might need to urinate more at night because of various changes in their bodies. This just makes timing hydration carefully even more important. Health implications of nighttime hydration. Now, let's talk about the health side of things if you're drinking too much at night. Those frequent trips to the bathroom because of too much nighttime hydration can really lead to serious sleep deprivation. When your sleep is constantly interrupted, it gets fragmented, and you don't get enough of that deep, restorative sleep. Over time, this can build up into a major sleep debt, which then affects how you function during the day and your overall health. This is especially true if you're trying to manage conditions like diabetes effectively. Broken sleep has also been connected to some negative effects on our cardiovascular system. Not sleeping well can contribute to higher blood pressure, issues with heart rate variability, and more inflammation in the body, and these are all risk factors for heart disease. For anyone with diabetes who already has a higher risk of heart problems, making sure to protect your sleep is absolutely crucial. Our immune system also takes a hit when our sleep quality isn't good. If your sleep is chronically disrupted, it can weaken your immune responses, which means you might be more likely to pick up infections. Getting that restorative sleep is essential because that's when our bodies produce things like cytokines and antibodies that fight off inflammation and illness. This is so important for staying healthy, especially when you're also managing diabetes. And looking at the bigger picture, the long-term health problems from chronic sleep disruption can be quite extensive and serious. We're talking about an increased risk of developing or making worse chronic conditions like obesity, type 2 diabetes, depression, and even cognitive decline. So, making it a priority to use strategies that cut down on sleep interruptions, like being smart about when you drink fluids in the evening, is a really key part of managing your health for the long haul. So, to wrap things up, figuring out the best time for you to stop drinking water is all about balancing your need to stay hydrated with your need for good quality sleep. By trying to stop drinking fluids about 2 hours before you go to bed, and keeping in mind the other tips we've talked about, you can stay properly hydrated and still enjoy that wonderful, uninterrupted, restorative sleep all night long. This will really support better diabetes management and your overall well-being. Now, we'd love to hear from you. What's been your experience with drinking water at night and how it affects your sleep? Why not try adjusting your water intake timing using some of these guidelines and then share how it went for you in the comments? And don't forget to subscribe for more science-backed sleep tips that can truly transform your rest and your overall health.